eats, drinks, and sleeps. And we've got him on the line right now. How you doing, John?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Are you working on your 3D printer and you're making a 50 cal?
Oh, yeah. You know, I got a full-on 50 cal getting printed out right now.
I knew it. And it's in the trunk of your Tesla.
Oh, yeah. It prints out in 30 seconds. It's amazing. So, obviously, you guys know what we're talking about today. And to all the law enforcement officials in California listening to the fact that I printed off a 50 caliber rifle in my Tesla, that was a joke.
Yes, that was.
So, unless you've been living under a rock, you are aware of the 3D printed gun issue that's been all over the news and social media. And essentially, there are two opinions. This stuff's been around forever, and who cares? Mm-hmm. Or we're all going to die, it's Armageddon, and the world is going to end within the next hour.
I'm ready.
Yeah, so essentially this is all starting from a company called Defense Distributed, but from Cody Wilson. Years ago, I want to say close to 8 years ago, he printed off the first 3D printed gun. It was a single-shot, one-time use only gun. It was a handgun, and the world reacted as usually does in that sense, thinking again Armageddon. And he attempted to put these files to machine and download and code that would allow you to be able to make your own firearms, which has been perfectly legal since the beginning of this country. You've always been able to make your own firearms. Even in California, you can make them. We have some new restrictions on getting approval first, but you've always been able to make your own guns, and people have done it for decades and decades. But once he tried to, post these files to a public forum, the State Department stepped in, and this is years ago, claiming that they fell under the ITAR restrictions, the International Traffic in Arms Regulations, essentially trying to stop foreign, governments from seizing these munitions files, which, if you want to compare it, you can go to our patent office and find the exact same files freely, accessible to anyone. So they tried to step in and stop it, the State Department, and Cody Wilson decided to sue on free speech grounds, stating that his code or these files were protected under the First Amendment of the Constitution. And he's right. U.S. Supreme Court has settled this already. Bernstein v. Department of Justice. Code or, computer code is language, and it is protected by the First Amendment. So he would have won. And the State Department knew that, and they were going to settle it. And they actually were about to sign the papers before the rest of the world found out about this just a little while ago. And you had attorney generals and, I'm going to just say, more liberal-leaning people that don't know what they're talking about freak out thinking, oh, my God, everyone's going to be able to print off guns and ammunition in their garage, and we're all going to die. And so everyone started to talk about it, freak out about it, and say, we have to stop this settlement from happening. We have to keep these guys from posting this code online. Big problem with this, though. The code has been online for years. Everywhere. It's the internet. The State Department was never successful in preventing it from being uploaded in the first place, and it's always been around. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people have had this stuff downloaded for going on 8 to 10 years, probably. It's just there's nothing new to this, and so. You had about 21 attorney generals from different states try to get injunctions against DefCAD, which is the website that would be posting these files, and against Cody Wilson. And they were actually successful out of a federal judge in Seattle issued a nationwide injunction on Defense Distributed from releasing these files. And it was actually a sickening decision to read if you respect the law in any way. This judge issued an injunction, and there was no discussion whatsoever of the First Amendment and their protected right. They wholly ignored it. This was a perfect example of judicial activism and not, applying the law. The law is very clear. They had no right to issue the injunction in any way. And personally, I think that judge should retire out of shame. It's
nice.
Horrible decision. So that's the big background in the whole story of this, except as soon as that injunction went out, our wonderful friends at the Firearms Policy Coalition, along with a lot of other people, decided to say, well, the injunction was only issued against Defense Distributed, and so they uploaded the codes and the files. And you can go right now, codeisfreespeech.com, and you can get access and download all these files, even with Amazon, Facebook, even, I believe, Twitter and Instagram, all trying to stop and turn off the links to these websites. You can still get on the websites, access information, and so they're kind of calling the state's bluff and like all these attorney generals' bluff by saying, hey, this is free speech and you have no right to regulate it. The old saying, can't stop the signal. It's out there already. It's been out there for years, and they're never going to stop it. But even with all that, you have people like in LA City Attorney and Mayor. They've already announced that they're proposing legislation to ban the download, possession, or distribution of the coded file in the city of LA.
Gosh.
Which I'm not even sure how they would try to attempt to regulate.
That's ridiculous. That's not even... If it's so ridiculous, it's not even funny anymore. It's just, what a sad display.
It's right up there with straws.
Yeah.
No, it's past straws because this is a settled argument. This is not a disputable issue. We are all free to access, download, possess this code, and it's an absurdity that you have people in government trying to restrict it. It's not. This isn't even a Second Amendment issue. This is a First Amendment issue, in its truest form. And you have government trying to regulate the content of speech. It's absurd.
What if we, John? What if we organize a group of people to stand out in front of every Starbucks in San Diego, and we pass out plastic straws and copies of the code on how hey, good morning. Here's a plastic straw, and here's some AR code.
Here's an AR code. You'll love this.
Oh, the funniest thing, I have already seen plastic 80% plastic straws being advertised. Where one side is sealed, and so it's not a straw, and so therefore it's freely able to distribute in California. You just got to cut off one end, and you have a straw again. Although I haven't looked at the regulation, I don't know if it's illegal to manufacture straws. So,
John, look how bored you would be if you didn't live in California.
I say this a lot. If I practiced law in a different state, there would be no need for a gun law or gun attorney in the everyday sense. I go out of state. I go visit. We go SHOT Show every year in Nevada, and many times I come across companies and stores that have been operating in guns for decades. And when I tell them what I do, they have a very puzzled look on their face, and they ask me, "Wait, but what do you do?" They have no idea of the absurdities that occur in this state. And, this code is free speech and Defense Distributed. People need to pay attention to this. And honestly, if you hate guns, absolutely hate guns, and think no one should have them, if you have any faith or, and you put any authority into this Constitution that we have in this country, you need to support the fact that this stuff should be freely distributed as people see fit. Government has no right to regulate this.
I totally agree.
My face palm of the week last week was during the press conference. One of the senators, I forget which one, but one of the anti-gun senators said that now Hamas was going to get 3D printers and they were going to be able to print guns. And I thought, okay, well, Hamas has rockets and machine guns and AK-47. I really don't think they need a printer.
I don't think so.
Yeah, they're really going to use a single shot, one-time use only, plastic and metal. I mean, there's no 100% plastic gun. Let's just make that very clear. Those don't exist. We're not in the movie Die Hard. There's no such thing as an invisible to metal detector gun. They all need metal parts to work.
Well, that's why you need to bring
metal.
John, that's why you need to bring back the bump stock. See, because if you bring back the bump stock and you put it with the plastic gun and stand on your one leg, it might shoot twice. All right. Hey, I'm going to let you get back.
Drink a straw. Drink out of a cup with a straw in California. Exactly.
We all just need sippy cups, and then we'll all be good to go.
Yeah, but again, code is freespeech.com.
Ooh, I like that.
Check it out.
Code is freespeech.com. All right. Folks, if you guys need a lawyer, Gatsky, Dillon, and Balance, 760-431-9501, cafirearmslaw.com. Give them a ring. Hey, and do you or any of your family keep a firearm or a weapon for personal protection?
Without someone doing something about it, it's not going to get any better.